What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to our Carabao Cup preview here on Anfield Agenda. The Reds take on Oliver Glasner's Crystal Palace in a 7:45 p.m. kickoff on Wednesday night, which means that we will be live from 6:30. I've changed up the way I do these videos a little bit in recent weeks, and what I do now is give you my preferred 11 and not to predict an 11 that I think Arne Slot is going to go with because, well, I'm going to have a difference of opinion with him on a couple of positions. So as we go through the video, I'll give you a bit of an injury update. Then we'll look at Crystal Palace's form coming into this game and, of course, our form against them. Then we'll go through and do a predicted 11 and finish up with a score prediction. Feel free to play along in the comment section. I hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, don't forget to drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and if you haven't checked out the Anfield Agenda Clips channel, would love you to do that as well. So look, folks, let's start off with an injury update, or as much of one as we know. Allison won't be available for this game. Frimpong won't be available for this game. They're both ruled out for a few weeks yet. On top of that, there's some doubts, obviously, around Isak and Gravenberch, so I wouldn't put them in the squad. I'd keep them and rest them up for the weekend's game against Villa. And then the other question mark is potentially Curtis Jones, but again, probably not somebody that would have been starting the game anyway as the manager looks to rotate. So that is as much as I know about our injuries, but there are going to be a couple of surprises in this team as well. We've got a few hints as the week has gone on. You can expect Freddie Woodman to start in goal. There's some talk as well that Calvin Ramsey could get a run out at right back, and Federico Chiesa's on the matchday programme cover, so a good chance there that he will start. That being said, it doesn't mean that they're in my preferred 11, which again, as I mentioned, would be the 11 that I would put out. So let's start off by having a little look then at Crystal Palace's form, and of course our recent games against Crystal Palace coming into this fixture. So, our head-to-head, Community Shield, 2025-26, you don't need a reminder on this one. It was Crystal Palace 2, Liverpool 2, and then Crystal Palace 1 on penalties. In the Premier League last season, 24-25, bit of a mixed bag for the Reds. At home, it was Liverpool 1, Crystal Palace 1, and the reverse fixture at Selhurst Park finished Crystal Palace 0, Liverpool 1. Recent form of Palace, well, of course, when they beat us, they were in the midst of an 18-game unbeaten streak. That was ended by Everton. The recent form runs as follows. In the Premier League, it was Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0, their most recent fixture. In the Conference League, then, they lost at home to AEK Larnaca by 1-0. They had a draw in the Premier League against high-flying Bournemouth, and who thought we'd be saying that phrase, but honestly, Bournemouth have been fantastic this season. It was Crystal Palace 3, Bournemouth 3 at Selhurst Park. Then at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, it was Everton who broke that unbeaten run of Crystal Palace's by beating them by 2-1. And in the Conference League, they had a 2-0 away victory over Dynamo Kiev, and that is pretty much where our opponents are at. Now, you can look at this game and think it's a good time to play them, or it's not. And what I always struggle with coming into an all-Premier League early round League Cup fixture is how strong the managers are going to go. If you're playing against a League 1, League 2 team, you know, you probably expect the manager to shuffle it up a little bit. But when you have Premier League opposition, it is almost like a game of poker between the two managers of how strong do you go, how much are you prioritising each competition. And of course, Crystal Palace deservedly won the FA Cup last year, so they've got that little taste of trophy success and maybe want a little bit more. So I'm expecting them to go relatively strong. That being said, how strong are we going to go? Well, this is what I would do. So we'll start off, as we always like to, with the goalkeeper and the centre-backs. Freddie Woodman is going to play in goal, and I can understand that thought process. As much as I would probably like to see Mamardashvili keep playing because, you know, I like that rhythm and I want to get him as many minutes as possible, I think it's fair to give Freddie Woodman a run out. Centre-backs for me in this one, we can take the chance of playing Van Dijk or Kanade, well, for a couple of reasons. One, because they haven't been very good, and two, we don't really want any more injuries. So for me, I would go for Wataru Endo and Joe Gomez as the centre-backs in this team. Now, to balance that out a little bit, I've gone for a little bit more, I guess, seniority with regards to the fullback positions compared to what we'll probably see. So for me, I would play Andy Robertson in every game between now and the November international break because Milos Kerkez just hasn't been up to it and probably needs a bit more time to settle in. So I would go Robbo now, Saturday against Real Madrid, and then against Aston Villa next Saturday. So that's my thoughts on it. On the right side, look, I can understand that the manager probably won't go for Conor Bradley because with Jeremy Frimpong out injured, the last thing he's going to want to do is have another injured fullback, and Conor Bradley is susceptible to some muscle injuries. But I want to win this game because I think we need to claw back some form and get well, that winning feeling back again. So I would play Conor Bradley at right back. So my back five would be Mamadashvili. Nope, it wouldn't. It would be Freddie Woodman, excuse me. Robertson at left back. Bradley at right back with Endo and Gomez in the centre back positions. Now into midfield. And again, you'll see that I've made some changes, but I like the balance of this midfield personally. So, Alexis McAllister needs minutes, needs rhythm, and needs performances. So, I will play him alongside him, Trey Neone, who was in the recent Premier League squad, for our last game. I think he deserves a start. Big fan of his, and every time I see him out there on the pitch, he doesn't let us down. And then I play Florian Wirtz. And the reason I do that is because I think he needs rhythm. I think he needs confidence, and I think he needs minutes. So, we got to keep playing this guy. The manager may think it's time to give him a rest. Not for me. It's time to get him into a rhythm. This could be a good opportunity for him to pick up a goal, maybe a couple more assists, and I just think we got to play Wirtz till he gets used to the pace of the league. So that's my midfield: Alexis McAllister, Trey Neone, and Florian Wirtz. Now, into the front three, and again, you're going to see changes here, but I think you'll understand where I'm coming from. Wide positions, Rio Ngamoa on the left, and Fede Chiesa on the right. I think this one's fairly straightforward. Both these guys need minutes. Both these guys deserve minutes. And both of these guys, well, should be playing the game for me. So, young Rio on the left, Fede on the right. And then all that remains is who plays through the centre. Again, fairly straightforward, with Isak having a knock and us wanting to get him up to speed and keep him fresh. I wouldn't be playing him. So for me, through the centre, I would go for Hugo Ekitike. Because as I've said, I want to get the balance right between some young, inexperienced players, giving others a rest, and of course, keeping some in that rhythm. So for me, 11 that I would put out. In goal, Freddie Woodman. Right back, Conor Bradley. Left back, Andy Robertson. Centre backs of Wataru, Endo and Joe Gomez. Midfield of Alexis McAllister, Trey Neone and Florian Wirtz. Young Rio Ngamoa on the left. Fede Chiesa on the right. And Hugo Ekitike through the middle. Now this is all, of course, assuming that the manager wants to go with some variation of a 4-3-3. Because, well, you know, if we wanted to go 4-4-2, obviously Chiesa could be up there alongside Ekitike, and he would change around the midfield a little bit. Probably have Rio on the left of that midfield, but Wirtz on the right again, and McAllister and Neone as the two central midfielders. So that is my 11. Now, as we always do, we'll finish up with the score prediction. And look, normally I'm sitting here and I go, a win, 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 win. But ultimately, I don't think this is going to be a straightforward game for various reasons. So I've gone for 2-2. But Liverpool to win on penalty kicks. So remember, there'll be no extra time or anything in this game. There'll be no VAR used in the game either. So I'm going to go for Liverpool 2, Crystal Palace 2, and us to get revenge for the penalty kicks loss at Wembley in the Community Shield. And the Reds to book their place in the next round via penalty kicks. So that is it for it, ladies and gentlemen. Do let me know your thoughts on the preferred 11 that I've gone with and anything else that I've covered in this video. A reminder, it's a 7:45 kickoff on Wednesday, which means we'll be live here 1 hour 15 minutes beforehand from 6:30. Appreciate your time as always. Hopefully we can get back to winning ways because there's a big couple of weeks ahead. It is Crystal Palace, then Aston Villa, Real Madrid, followed by Manchester City away at the Etihad. We'll talk soon. Much love. Bye-bye.